Hi, this is Crystal Hardison from Southeastern Livingston Center. I'm the director, and you are listening to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Local Leaders, the podcast. And we have a gentleman across from me today. Well, let's just say it's something that either you love what he does for a living or you hate to do what he does for a living, so you hire him to do it. And that is landscaping, something that I am, you're perfect for a guy like me because I don't want to be out in 100-degree heat pulling weeds and doing plants and all those sort, especially designing all this stuff. So that's what I call Landscape King, quite frankly.
That's
and
right.
That is your company, and your name is Joseph King. So first of all, Joseph, welcome to Local Leaders Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, your story is phenomenal. And y'all, I'm telling you, he was here for 3 hours when we were off camera a couple of weeks ago, and we never quit talking. You just have an amazing story, and so we're going to talk about your story today. We're going to talk about what led you into your business, which is landscaping and Landscape King. But first, tell me a little bit about yourself. You have a family? Are you single and ready to mingle? What is it?
Not single and ready to mingle. Not anymore. No, I've got a wife, Jess.
Okay.
We've got 2 kids. We've got James and Jude, a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old.
Yeah.
And we grew up in Watson. Went to Live Oak. Yeah, that's right.
LP guy. That's
right.
a good thing.
We live in Baton Rouge now, and we love where we're at. And it seems like a lot of if I continue to tell you more about who I am, I'm going to talk about landscaping.
Yeah. Well, that's what we want to do. Well, your whole life is kind of centered around that. And landscaping for you started at an early age. Tell us about that. Tell us how you got into landscaping.
Yeah, so it was my second job. My first job, I worked at Chick-fil-A, and my second job, I was a junior in high school, and I was just looking for a summer job. I wanted to do something outside, and I got in working at Clegg's Nursery on Highway 16.
Yep. Everybody knows Clegg's.
Everybody knows Clegg's. Yeah, that's right.
Especially my wife, who spends a lot of money in Clegg's.
Maybe too much, but that's okay. She keep going there. It's a good place. And from there, one of the things that made that job more enjoyable was starting to learn plants. Because especially on Saturdays, maybe your wife included, everybody'd come in there, and I kind of became just a sales guy. At first, I was just a guy loading stuff for people. I would load bag goods or help load up plants and stuff. But I kind of turned into a sales guy there, and on Saturdays, people would come in and they would have questions about what they could plant and where.
Yeah.
And the more enjoyable that job became was whenever I learned plants.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of forced me to learn. I enjoy talking to people. It always was natural.
You were kind of hooked.
I was kind of hooked. Yeah.
And you wouldn't think, and we'll talk about some of the jobs that we wanted to do when we were 12, actually, in our little fun fact segment. But plants are something that you're, like I said at the beginning, you either love them or it's something you prefer somebody else do. Everybody loves to look at them, but you were someone that you're young, you're out there, you're just making a few bucks, right, while you're in high school, and you're like, man, I really love to do this, and you kind of ran with that ball, and you ended up being kind of like a salesperson out there.
Right.
Amazing.
And it just turned into a passion, basically. Just to make the hours go by better, I learned the plants, learned where they were on the lot, and then I started recognizing plants around town.
Yeah.
And so then it just from there, it just snowballed into a passion for that. And then there were some guys there that they would plant stuff for people from time to time on the side, and I'd help them out.
Right.
There was another landscaper in town that I worked with a little bit.
Yeah.
And then from there, eventually, in 2017 and we can talk about that a little bit too, but that's whenever I was really like, hey, man, maybe I can do this for myself. And one of the things too is I'd always see these landscapers come in, and they all had nice trucks.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I want to have a nice truck.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So regardless if they're making money or not, they have a nice truck.
They have a nice truck, and I want one of those. Right. And so you were kind of looking at what other people were doing, and that became a passion for you. So you go through Clegg's. How long were you at Clegg's?
So in total, it was about 5 years.
About 5 years. That's a long stint.
Yeah.
From high school, especially when you're in high school. Look, a lot of people when junior year in high school, they have that job for a couple of years and then they bounce to 15, right? And trying to find their niche. What do they want to do? You were there 5 years, so that's a good training ground for you.
Yeah, and for a long time, I just thought it was just a job that I'd have, and it never. Not until the end of that is when it really turned into. Even when I started doing landscaping on the side, it was like maybe that's just on the side. But from there, I went to Southeastern and flunked out, and then went to BRCC and flunked out, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
And this story is about. Look, this is probably my favorite. Let's talk about school for a minute.
Okay.
So you went to Southeastern, and what did you want to major in when you went?
Mass comm, and I wanted to be a news anchor. Yeah.
I'm kind of a mass comm guy myself.
Yeah, that's right.
And you were going to be a news anchor, and you ended up, you flunked out of Southeastern. You said, well, I'm going to give BRCC a shot.
Yeah, basically because they let me in.
Yeah. Very good.
I haven't told a lot of people that, but that's the reality that I really did, and
people
my
need to
grades
hear
were so
this
bad,
because it gets really good.
Yeah, exactly.
So you just you end up at BRCC and still no luck. You're just not focused. It's not that he was dumb, y'all.
Maybe.
No, you were not dumb by any means. It was. I would imagine, if I can take the liberty, it was maybe an application process. You just weren't dedicated to school like you were to plants.
Right. I wasn't focused on it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize at the time how focused I was on plants.
Yeah.
But looking back, it just tells a different story when you look back, whether as compared to like living in it. You're like, man, what am I going to do?
Absolutely.
But it was all making sense and all was lined up perfectly.
Yeah, it was a plan.
Yeah.
So you end up not much more luck at Baton Rouge Community College, and what do you do? What happens at that point?
So that's whenever I completely stepped away from Clegg's and was like, maybe I could do more landscaping for myself.
Yeah. Seeing people making money doing it. You're like, people were asking you kind of to help them out on the side.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it still wasn't legit yet, and I hadn't formed the LLC, but it really wasn't until I met a certain person who is now my wife that it really started to like kind of motivate me and inspire me to take it more serious.
Really? What motivated you about that?
Well, I don't know. Just growing up, I don't know if it's growing up in Watson or maybe just me. I just always kind of had limited beliefs for sure about what I was capable of doing.
Yeah.
I even thought like
your mindset was
my mindset was whack.
Yeah. Well, not whack, probably common.
Yeah, really common.
Mindset is a huge thing, and y'all, this is one of the reasons I like doing this show is because we dive kind of into this a little bit. It's important that people hear. A lot of people out there, probably the vast majority, have kind of a limitation in their brain that they think they have.
Right.
So how dare I dream to be, an astronaut? I'm from Denham Springs.
Exactly.
I'm not going to be an astronaut. Maybe I can work on the rocket ships, but I can't fly the rocket ships. And your mind is an amazing thing because if you believe that, the likelihood that that's going to happen is pretty high. In your case, you met someone who kind of let you see through that limitation. Said, no, you can do whatever you want.
Right. And it was really in her own life. And so like Jess had always wanted to be a vet when she was like 8 years old. And she was probably one of the first people I met who like had a goal and a vision of what they wanted for their life and fulfilled it.
Yeah.
And when we met, it was a client that we were already working for she was dog sitting for that lady, and that lady was using us for landscaping, and she had a house down the street. And so she asked the lady, hey, who's your landscaper? And she actually called me to come do her landscaping. And that's how we met.
Wow. Yeah. That's
I know.
Hey now.
Yeah. Whoa. Single and ready to mingle back then.
Yeah, you were.
So from that point on, we started dating, and I tell people, I was hired to do the landscape and just never left.
Well, and it's the amazing thing. It's what you love to do. It's your passion. And through that is how you met your wife. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's just looking back, you see the story differently, and it all, and back to mindset. And, when you're going through stuff, sometimes when you don't have vision and you don't know where you're going, it's hard to know how you're going to get there. But looking back, everything was just lining up perfectly.
Yeah. But at the time you're going through it, you don't realize that. And so you start doing this side work, and I'm guessing you tell me, was it busy for you? Was it plentiful?
Yeah. So we, sometimes Cleggs would help us out, and when people would come in there, they'd give them our number.
Yeah.
And so I was able to pick up a little bit, but it wasn't until 2017 that we started picking up, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna commit to this.
Yeah. And were you married at this time?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah. It was after we got married.
So you had a conversation?
No, it was before we got married, because we got married December 31st of 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on New Year's Eve,
cool.
man. Yeah, it was. It was cool.
And it's an easy date to remember.
Yeah.
For when you're older.
But we yeah, that's right. You can't forget that one. That's right. But we were engaged.
Yeah.
So we were engaged at that point.
And you had a conversation, I imagine.
Yeah. And then at that point too, I went back to BRCC and was focused to get a degree in landscape, or in turf and landscape. Man, yeah, got you.
So you went back to BRCC after you had, pretty much flunked out, and you flunked out of Southeastern, and at some point you say, you know what, I can do this. I can get this degree and whatever I'm seeking, and you eventually did. So let's talk about that. For those people that maybe are in your position right now and they tried school and it didn't work for them, it's not too late for them. If you believe you can go back and get that degree, you can, and you're an example of that. So let's talk about that. Tell me that story.
Yeah, so I was at least probably 25.
Yeah.
And going back to BRCC and still doing landscaping as well, almost full time too. But during that time, I wasn't completely sold on if I was going to be able to really make this happen. Mm-hmm. And with college too, I don't think college is for everybody.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, everybody has their place in life. And look, we talked about this off camera, but I'm a big proponent in trades and our trades like plumbing and painting and electricians and all that. They're suffering right now because everybody on God's green earth is, you need to go to college. And look, college is a beautiful thing for people that that need a degree for whatever field they're choosing. But let me tell you, I know some electricians that ain't never stepped foot in a college other than to fix a light in there that are killing it.
Yeah.
They're smoking those guys that went to college for different things. I mean, they're making $500,000-$600,000 a year. Some of them over $1 million a year. I know a guy that cuts grass that makes over $1 million a year and got 9 crews working for him. Look, college is an important thing for certain. If you're going to be a doctor, go to college.
That's
definitely go to college. I don't want you operating on me, but some people, they just don't want to function in that type of environment. They want to get out there and start in the world. And I don't discourage people either way. Right. I feel like you're going to know your path. So continue. I'm sorry.
No,
I went on a little tangent there.
and sometimes I think too that, maybe if I didn't try to go back to school, we would have grown faster. Because it wasn't really until 2020 that we really started getting some traction in the business. But for me, ultimately, it was one of those things where I started this. Let me just finish this.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Yeah.
It bothered you, didn't it?
It did. And I also, it was good networking too. And it also built the credibility a little bit, kind of separated us a little bit,
I think
not really. Well, some people
don't,
they don't care, but some people do, but
I would.
Yeah.
I would care. I mean, if I had to choose between you and somebody else and the separator there was, let's talk about it. What is your education?
Yeah, so I got the associate's degree in turf and landscape management at BRCC, and then went to LSU. And there was actually a professor at BRCC who was from LSU, but he taught some horticulture classes at BRCC.
Okay.
And at the time, that was really like, he really helped me see that there was a path to get to LSU.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
So he had an influence on you.
Yeah, he did.
Very good.
And then from there, I did end up finishing with a bachelor's in turf and landscape management.
Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, which is what you're doing for
Yeah.
a living, pretty much.
That's
You
right.
know?
And I even started a master's program in landscape architecture in 2020, in 2020.
Yeah.
So I was 26, 27 years old.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 30.
30.
So my math might not be mathing, but but something like that.
Well, and here's the interesting thing, folks. He went from pretty much failing out of school, right, to now I'm working on my master's.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get anything else out of this show, there's one thing right there. It's never too late. And your mindset can change later in life and lead you to things, to goals that you had set for you, even, when you were a young guy and you're still a young guy, but when you were 18 and 19 and 20 and you're going to school and you're struggling, and you mentioned it earlier, it took kind of almost meeting the right person.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And then from there, like getting married, and then when we had kids, like
responsibility time. Yeah.
Responsibility.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It pushes you, and it's good.
It does. It is good. I tell people a lot the day, I can look back the day I had my son, and my son is my oldest child. I have 3, but the day I had my son, I can distinctly almost remember like a switch in my attitude. And I said, okay, it's time for me to quit playing.
Yeah.
It's time for me to get about life. And that's legit, and I'm sure women go through it too, but I can't, I'm a man, so I relate to the men's side. And, I felt all of a sudden like I had these big shoulders and I'm ready to tackle the world because I had no choice.
That's right.
It wasn't about me anymore.
That's right.
So I can relate to what you're saying. Very, very good stuff. So you get your education behind you. And the reason I say that's a separator, I look at it as a separator with you, is education in what you're doing is important. You don't want to be putting plants out there in your front yard that are going to die next week because you're putting them out at the wrong time of the year.
Right.
Or
the wrong place.
Or the wrong place. You want to know why something's happening or why you're choosing certain places to put those plants where they don't. Look, my wife knows a lot more than I do about plants, and a lot of times she tells me this needs sunlight, this don't need sunlight, this needs sunlight for half a day. I mean, there's a lot to learn.
There is.
Mr. Landscape King. This is not something that's easy. It's not as easy as going and buying a plant and setting it on your mantle and watering it every day. And it's going to live.
Right. And I think a lot of people waste a lot of money sometimes because they just see what's blooming in the nursery.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go and plant that, and maybe it needs full sun, and they put it in the shade,
Exactly.
Or vice versa or something like that.
Yeah. And you don't know that unless you have some sort of education behind that. Yes, you can learn some of those things, other ways. The internet's a great thing, although sometimes it will tell you the wrong thing. It's a great thing. But having a formal education in what you do, I think is a big deal. Yeah. And shout out to you for never giving up, man. Really, that's something that people just give up on themselves too quick in life, I think.
I think so too.
And you're a fine example of someone who didn't. And you had a lot of help behind you and a lot of encouragement.
Yeah.
Encouragement. How valuable is that?
It is.
And
I've got parents who are still together who they love me through a lot of hard times. I made a lot of mistakes.
Welcome to the club. Yeah, made my share. Trust me, and continue to make them. But we learn from those sometimes, and we use those as sometimes you have to make a mistake to realize you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, and you kind of graduate from the mistakes you make at different seasons of your life. It's a different thing.
Amen to that. Now, let's talk about your services that you offer at Landscape King, because they're vast. It's one thing when I was researching what you did was I love it when I'm checking out a business and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have thought they did that, or I didn't think they did this. One of the things that you do that may be obvious to some people, but when you mentioned it, I was like, wow, y'all do that, is landscape lighting.
Oh yeah.
So is that a big thing right now? The landscape lights?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Light it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you spend money on a landscape and specifically like we're talking about a flower bed or like foundational planting in front of a home.
Yeah.
You're not going to see it at night. And so it's great to light that up.
Yeah. And it looks nice.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
It is. And I mean, it's not cheap, but I think it's worth the money.
Yeah.
And it
absolutely.
And whenever we're already doing an installation, it's just an easy add-on.
Sure. And it makes it nice, the solar capability that we have now versus years ago when you had to plug everything in. Sometimes you can still go to that system, and there's a lot of systems like that.
No, you don't want to do solar.
No solar? No solar?
No. All we do is low voltage LED landscape lighting.
Solar sucks.
Solar sucks. Yeah.
That's actually what I was leading to.
They've gotten
better. They've gotten better. Maybe if you have one flower.
Yeah, just one.
Might work.
And I mean, they've definitely gotten better. But the issue I still see is that you spend that money and then a few years go by, there's no warranty on that product.
Yeah. And
then you keep replacing it. And you end up spending the same amount of money that you would have
Period.
if you. Yeah, right.
So y'all put in good stuff.
Yeah.
What you're
we do.
Yeah.
I mean, we put in a nice system. There's a lifetime warranty on each fixture.
Really?
There is. Yeah.
Wow.
From the manufacturer.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's easy to sell too.
Yeah. Very
because
good.
of that, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, you worry about it one time and that's it. It's like having a lifetime warranty on your car. How hard is that to sell?
Not too hard. Not too hard.
Trust me. Yeah. My mechanic knows. So you do landscape lighting, but what about water spray systems?
Yeah. So we'll do micro irrigation, and we have a licensed irrigation contractor who I actually met at Clegg's. We both worked at Clegg's together, and he has a landscape business too.
Oh, okay.
And we partner with him on a lot of those projects.
Very good.
Since he has his license, and he comes in and does a lot of that for us.
Yeah, and those are nice, folks, because you can set them on timers. They come on certain times of the days, and you don't have to worry about I didn't water plants or didn't go water the flower garden or have that big spray thing that goes back and forth all day long. The next thing you know, you flooded your front yard because you were watching a football game
exactly
all day.
And I was going to say, a lot of people will not water, go a few days, and then they think they need to flood everything, and then too much water is almost worse than not enough water.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can kill
drown them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because plants are living. They're living, they're alive, they're growing.
That's right.
It's just like a person. You don't want to drown them with water, and they only get thirsty, and then they don't want nothing to drink no more. Basically.
Well, and if we want to get technical, I mean, then you get you're just opening up opportunity for like fungal disease.
Yeah.
If you're overwatering, especially if you're watering like too much at night too.
Yes.
And so that's what's so difficult about landscaping. Is because if you come in here and paint this wall, you're going to have maintenance on it, but it's not alive. But if I go and plant 15 trees for you, if you don't water them, if we put them in the wrong spot, if we have a natural disaster, like it's alive and it's going to die.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it challenging.
That's a great point.
But it makes it kind of fun in a way too. But
and that's why you need an expert.
Yeah, that's right.
Does that all day.
That's right.
Every day. Look, when you mentioned paint, and when you mentioned paint, I perk up. I know a little thing or two about paint.
A little bit about
paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. 22 years in that
right.
business. And I'll tell
plug.
you, that's right. Little
Phil
plug.
Calhoun, yeah.
Farrell Calhoun, shout out. But I will tell you, I did paint all day, every day. And they had people that I would deal with, homeowners that, once every 5 years, they painted a bathroom. And it was amazing what they didn't know that they shouldn't know, right? They didn't do it every day like I did. It's the same thing in your world. You could work circles around probably with your knowledge of what my wife knows about plants, which I think is a lot for someone that doesn't do it for a living.
Professionally, yeah, exactly.
But the comparison there is totally different. So my wife is smart enough that she's going to lean on you and your advice, the majority of the time. And that's what people need to realize, and why it's important to have professionals in anything you do. Yes, we can all go out there and dig a hole and plant a plant.
Sure.
But you'll kill it real fast if you don't know what you're doing, if you're not doing it correctly. And so that's where you guys come in. And you can, it's not just about planting plants. You do the landscape lighting. You can get irrigation systems installed. How about maintenance? How about if somebody's just needing someone out there to pull weeds and keep it clean, right?
Exactly. Because you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a landscape and then immediately you've got a jungle.
Yeah.
And so that's
which happens a lot around here.
Yeah, it does. It does. So that's why we try to get you on a maintenance plan as well.
Yeah.
And at minimum,
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Good.
Ooh.
Maintenance plans.
That's
are
right.
Good.
At minimum, we're going to just pull weeds for you.
Yeah.
And for a lot of folks, we do that every other week.
Yeah.
And we're just out there. But the more consistent we're on doing it, just like mowing grass, as long as it's consistently done,
you'll keep up with it.
Yeah, you'll keep up with it, and you're not going to have issues. And it's going to cost you less, as opposed to if we come this month and we put in a new landscape for you, but then in 6 months or a year it's totally overgrown and you need a lot of work, then you got to spend a lot of money again.
Sure, because it's more time.
That's right.
More time, more effort may require more people. So if you keep up with it, it's probably 1/3 of the time it would normally take for someone that was overgrown and things of that nature.
Yeah, and the truth is too, some people really do like some of our customers. They want us to do the heavy lifting for them, but then they like piddling.
Yeah,
they'll get out there.
My wife loves piddling.
Yeah, there you go.
She does, but I hate it. and a lot of people, they may not mind the work, but it's the time. Think of the time you save by not having to do that. And someone that's a fellow business owner like you, look, I know the majority of our people out there are business owners.
Right.
And, we've all learned, people, that time is your most valuable asset, because as a business owner, you have to really figure out where your time is best spent. Otherwise, you will just eat yourself up. You're being pulled in so many different directions. You don't have to spend time. Think of the time involved in just keeping up with nice flower beds and all those sorts of things. That's where you guys come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we'll handle it for you.
You need to be spending your time either making money or spending time with your family.
That's right.
Or doing something more fun that you enjoy.
That's right.
Or
if you like to fish, hunt, whatever you like to do.
Whatever your thing is.
Do that. And let the people at Landscape King handle that, sort of stuff. Now, what if you're someone out there that's listening right now and you're like, I really need to redo my beds. I don't like the design of them anymore. Maybe I'm wanting to get rid of this tree or whatever, not necessarily tree, but plant, and put something else here. I want a ligustrum. How about that ligustrum? I don't even know what a ligustrum is. My wife says that word every now and then.
It makes you sound like you know something.
Yeah, huh? Philodendrium. How about that? I don't know what that is. Y'all have no idea, but my wife knows what it is, and I've heard that word. So let's say you want to get rid of those for whatever reason. And you want to kind of redesign. Do y'all do that? Do y'all offer design?
Of course we do. Okay. The Landscape King.
Yes, that's right.
So what we do with that, though, we're really just doing renderings. So we're not licensed landscape architects.
Yeah.
We're not charging money for that.
Right.
But I don't think you need a landscape architect to design a simple flower bed.
Right.
And most of what we do, our bread and butter, is just going to be those simple flower beds. People all over the country call them different things: ornamental gardens, foundational planting, whatever you want to call it. We call it flower beds.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
That's right.
Flower beds.
Get some flower beds. But what we can do for you is we take a picture, and some clients I'm able just to explain.
Yeah.
And I think that's the, like we talked about earlier, is like communication is key. But really being able to explain what we're going to do, some people need to see it though.
Yeah.
And so what we'll do is we'll take a picture. We have a software where we can do it. It's basically like Photoshop, and we'll put in the mulch, we'll put in the plants, and
here's what your house is going to look like.
That's right. It's a visual representation of what it's going to look like. We're not going to charge you for that. It's just a value add that we're going to do to make it easier so you can see what we're going to do.
And that's huge, because a lot of people do charge for that. And,
Yeah.
and you're willing to go out there and kind of consult with these people and say, hey, here's what we can do for you here. And I'm sure offer up ideas. I mean, you probably got you've seen a few flower beds in your days, so you've probably got a good idea of what would look nice.
That's right.
And sure wouldn't be against making a suggestion. And a lot of people might say, okay, so I'm gonna give you an example here. Let's say someone has a room, and that room, for whatever reason, the sun maybe sits on it all day, and it's hotter than any other room in the house, no matter how much drapery they have in there. And maybe they want to put a plant that's going to grow real big in front of that big major window in that room to kind of block out some of that sun and that heat. I mean, that's things that you could recommend that you would know right off the bat. Well, this would look nice,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
And there are people in that situation. I was one of them. We had a room, our dining room has two huge windows on two sides, and that room stayed hot.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how cold the air was. It just stayed hot because the sun was right there all day long, and we had blackout curtains and everything you could think of. It'd still be hot in that room. But you know what I needed? A big plant right there in front of that window that would block some of that at least.
So you're the first person, believe it or not, you're the first person. I've never had anybody ask me that.
Yeah.
No, nobody's ever said, hey,
I am a trend setter. I tell people all the time. I would have totally asked you that question. Yes. And it was an issue. And believe it or not, we did put a plant. We put a big plant there, and I'm going to call it the wrong name. My wife will kill me. So I'm not going to say it, but we put a plant that grows very big there, and it did grow very big there, and it helped.
Good.
It helped because it blocked that sun.
And then the key there is when you consult with a professional, and you can look at Google, obviously, but knowing, hey, how close should we plant this to the house?
Yeah.
We want it to get big to do this, but we also don't want to have issues with our foundation, with roots growing too close, or having to prune that thing all the time, which
we did have to do.
Yeah. and
you just hit it. See, this is how much this dude knows. He literally just said exactly what happened. It probably is. I don't have foundation issues, but I probably could have planned it a little further back. But yes, I have to prune it all the time.
And that's probably
kind of a pain.
And not to get off topic, but that's probably the biggest comment I get is, I want it to look awesome, but I don't want to have to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want this, but we don't want any maintenance. Yeah. And so most people just want as little maintenance as possible. Even if they're paying us to do maintenance, they still, that's probably the biggest concern.
Really?
One of the biggest concerns. Yeah. That's
very
right.
good. What if so everybody's taste is different, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you run into, something that you think is just absolutely beautiful and gorgeous, and this person's like, nah, I don't like that. I don't like those colors or whatever. And so we talked about those, consultations that you do, and you can take those pictures of their house and actually put foliage, all around it. This is what it's going to look like when it's done, almost like a rendering.
Right.
And all of that, which is nice because technology has made that possible. Right.
Right.
Let me ask you this. We talked about the maintenance contracts. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what do those consist of? Like your maintenance contracts that you have? Is that like, hey, we'll come once a month and we'll just pull weeds, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So we have some clients just twice a month. So every other week, we're out there pulling weeds. If we see something, like if we see a plant that has like yellow leaves or something, we'll pull that. We'll do light pruning. Yeah. But minimum, like kind of the base maintenance is just pulling weeds.
Yeah.
And twice a month is what I think is really recommended.
Summertime around here, I'd agree with you.
During the growing season, And then what we're doing there too is even if we're just pulling weeds, we're still going to blow off the concrete surfaces. We'll still edge around the beds with a weed eater.
Yeah.
And then for a long time, Jim, we didn't cut grass. I didn't want to do anything with grass. But for a value add for our customers, like if we're doing maintenance already, then we'll cut your lawn. But we're not we're not lawn cutters in the sense that we're just trying to be the cheapest lawn guy in town and get as much lawn care as we want. We really want to do more installs, and every time we install, then we want to maintain it.
Right. Oh, very good. Very good. So it will be a service if you're an existing customer.
Yeah,
and you just need someone out there to do, you can take care of them, but it's not something you're out there hustling,
right?
Wanting to do every day.
And we're not going to compete with price on it.
Yeah.
We're going to try to, we're going to try to just give you the most value and like communicating and making sure that you trust that we're going to do what we say we're going to do.
Very good. Very good. And that's great, because that's just an added on benefit for your people.
Right.
And they may just trust you. Right.
Yeah.
So they may say, I don't want anybody except Landscape King doing anything in my yard.
That's right.
Okay, we get it. And you quote a price based off of that. Now, what would you say the most difficult thing about getting your business started was?
How labor intensive landscaping is.
Yeah.
And being young and not having any money, not having a nice truck.
Yeah. You didn't have one of them trucks
No,
yet.
I didn't have one of them trucks yet. And I didn't have a machine. I'd rent stuff sometimes, but for a long time, I just grinded and hustled, and I'd work late. I was always covered in mud.
Yeah.
I've got a professor who'll tell a story, the guy that taught at LSU and BRCC. He taught a night class, a plant propagation class. And one night I showed up just covered in mud.
Yeah.
Because I was just digging. We were trenching and doing some stuff, and I was just covered in mud. It was a mess. But so for a long time, that was the biggest struggle, kind of getting past like my own just physical limitations of being hot as heck in the middle of summer in Louisiana and hating it.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was finding people that would come to work reliably.
Yeah.
And that we could train and that would do a good job.
Right. Very important. Very important, because it's your name behind that, right? And it's a reflection of you.
Yeah,
it does. It's business owners out there know what you mean. I mean, finding the right people, the good people that just believe in your philosophy is sometimes a struggle. So
and being a young entrepreneur, and not really like, I didn't get into business because I liked business. I got into business because I like plants.
Yeah.
And I only got into liking plants because of Clegg's, but as I kept evolving, then it turned into a passion for business.
Yeah.
And so we're still kind of ironing out, who are we, what do we do, and like, how do we do it? And now we're at that point in business where we have to have a system of how we do what we do. And we don't have great ones all the time, but we're getting better every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, business owners, we constantly sharpen our systems. Constantly. No matter how long you're in business, things will come up that you have to address and you sharpen. And so that's very good. You have some great reviews on Google and all of that, which is important. And something that's hard to achieve in the world of service, service industry in general. Is. I mean, it's hard to make everybody happy all the time. And so, but you have a nice Google review, Google reviews as well.
And I think what that really came down to was the common theme was anytime a customer wasn't happy, we fixed it. Yeah. Even if it cost us more money.
Sure.
Or even like, and I used to tell people we didn't have a warranty on plants, but every single time somebody's called me and they had a dead plant, we've replaced it for them. And we'd work something out for them.
Yeah.
So I think that goes into like, and now we've established like one of our values as a company is the client first.
The client first.
Hard
to beat that.
Yeah.
Hard to beat that. So shout out to y'all for having that philosophy, because that is important. Now, networking. Let's talk about that for a second.
Oh yeah.
Networking is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
When I was in the paint business, I kind of figured it out a little later in life than I would have liked to, meaning that when I was a young buck in the paint business and I was a sales rep that hustled, right? And I was hustling. I would go in neighborhoods and just go from house to house and talk to painters, these brand new neighborhoods that they're building, and nobody's moved. I wouldn't walk in an existing home, but if it was being built,
hey, you need some
and
paint.
I saw a ladder, a truck with a ladder, I'm like, there's painters in there, and I go in there and introduce myself and offer to sell them some paint. That's how we did things. Later on in life, I discovered, I did it way the hard way, which there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's where you develop the character and the work ethic. But there's something to be said for networking and business networking. I know you remember BNI, which is Business Networking International, which is a networking organization that is very, very big here in South Louisiana, but really all over the world. But here in South Louisiana, there's several chapters. And how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been incredible. And, you're right. It's so huge. And sometimes when you're first starting out, you think you just got to cold call everybody, and you've always got to be salesy and just, you've got to just grind. And you do to an extent, you've got to. But then once I joined BNI, I realized, and it took me a little while, but you in that group, people are doing that for you.
Yes.
But the only
it's
way
like having, 30 sales reps running around for you, selling for you.
Right. But the only way to do that is to establish a good relationship with them to where they know, like, and trust you, and they feel good about, because they're putting their name on the line.
Oh yeah, because they don't have to refer you.
Right. No, they don't.
They don't have to refer you, and you have to earn their trust, and that comes through time and one-to-ones that you do with these people, and they get to know you and all of that. But networking a huge role in business, and has been a huge role in your business. You would agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, we've gotten a lot of sales from BNI.
Very good.
And almost every time, we have a very high close ratio from those referrals too. Yeah, because those people put their name on the line, and they trust those people, and then that trust is just transferred.
That's right. And
you said you were in BNI too,
I was in BNI for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And like I say, it was later on in my Farrell Calhoun sales career that I joined BNI. I wish I would have joined it 15 years before that. I just didn't know about it.
Right.
But I did eventually fall into a BNI and still communicate with those people every day. You form relationships that, don't go away after you leave. For me, it became a time factor, and I was building another business and starting a second life, and just couldn't be two places at once. But was huge, critical in what I did with my paint business, because everybody needed paint. I was getting referrals like crazy in BNI. Great organization, but an organization where people are vouching for you.
Right.
And so you're right. You have to kind of walk the walk and talk the talk with what you're doing in order for people to put their name on the line for you.
Yeah.
I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah. And for being out of work, you got to play the game. You've got to be there. You've got to do one-to-ones. And the biggest thing about BNI, the motto is giver's gain.
Yep.
So the more that you can give referrals to other people,
that's right. It'll come back.
Yeah,
to
it does.
It all circles around,
right.
and so shout out your BNI chapter real quick.
Yeah, Premier chapter.
Yeah. Shout out Premier chapter. I was a business boomer.
Yeah.
I was a business boomer's BNI, but we love the Premier chapter, and I know some people from there. So very good.
On Tuesdays, 11:30.
Yeah.
We are looking for different people to come and join too.
Yep. And you check it out. Y'all got a Facebook, I believe.
Yeah, we have a Facebook group.
Yeah.
I was going to name some businesses, but
name a few.
Well, like a salon owner, or like a fencing guy would be really good to have in the group.
Yeah,
we've got some good service industry guys in there, and there's a lot of good people in the group.
Yeah,
that do really good work.
We need a podcast.
Yeah, we need a podcast guy. Yeah, that's
I'm a free agent.
Come on.
So yeah, check out the Premier chapter of BNI. You can go check them out on Facebook, and if you have a business that you want to feature that they don't already have a seat in their chapter for, go check them out and tell them Joseph invited you.
That's right.
Get him some credit there.
Come give me some points. Yeah,
that's right.
But in that too, then it's good to. Then you have a network of people you can rely on for your customers too, to add more value.
Right. Yeah.
There's Zane with Superior Soft Wash in there that we refer him all the time. There's Daniel with Dim's Home Improvement.
Okay.
We refer him for things too. And there's just a lot of good people in that group.
There really is.
Yeah.
It's a room full of professionals.
Yeah, that's right.
So shout out to those folks. Now, let me ask you, we've kind of covered your services and everything that y'all do. What would you, this I'm curious about, what is the biggest problem that you've seen in all your time in business with landscaping in general? What do people typically do wrong?
Yeah. So
What's one thing that you see a lot of?
one thing is people try to spend less money and they won't buy garden soil.
Yeah.
And they won't build the beds up. So then all their plants are too low. And we have a lot of clay around here too. So what'll happen is if you don't build the beds up, if you don't amend the soil, those plants are just sitting in that water basically.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I see that's wrong. Sometimes people don't put enough plants.
Yeah.
And so you have this big, nice house, and then you've got these really skinny beds where people are like trying to save money, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You know, you're almost better off not doing anything.
Yeah. That's a good point.
until you can. And maybe you just do landscape lighting and that's it.
Yeah.
Because some people don't care about plants, you know?
Right.
And that's why it's important to.
I bet you can't imagine that.
Yeah. What's
Don't
wrong
care
with
about
you? Yeah.
plants.
Well, I get it. People are at different stages in life.
Sure.
And it's not a necessity, and it's expensive, but it just does so much for a house, and it's just nice to come home and you got a nice landscape. You know? I definitely spend money in my house.
Curb appeal is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it really is. You can. We talked about this a little off camera, but look, this isn't only limited to homeowners. If you're a realtor and you're trying to sell a house, do some landscaping with Landscape King. Let them go out there and at least spruce it up.
Yeah.
Talk to the person trying to sell a house and explain to them, you may invest XYZ amount of dollars in this, but you're going to double that in your sales price. You're going to get double what you invested into it back because of the curb appeal. Plus, you're going to sell it quicker.
Yeah.
Period. You have a nice landscape job in the front of that house that's for sale. I guarantee you're going to sell it faster than if you have something that looks like the Addams family in the front yard. I mean, really.
Well,
you got 5 dead plants, no soil, no straw or whatever you put out there, mulch. You have none of that. It's gonna take longer to sell that house unless you're extremely lucky.
Yeah, and going back to two things that people do wrong, I think sometimes they don't put enough plants. Sometimes they put too many plants and they'll put them too close to the house.
Yeah.
And that's why having a professional who knows how big the plants are going to get is really important too. And
Very good point.
Yeah. And then to the realtors too, for a client that has an established landscape, you can spend $2,000 to $4,000 and like clean it up. You don't have to have a new landscape, but you can still, and sometimes less, depending on what the size of the house is and stuff. But the point is, you don't have to invest a whole lot to make a big difference.
No, it means at least make it clean. I see a lot of realtors that do it right, and then I see realtors that they'll post pictures on like Facebook, and it's this beautiful house, but it's not pressure washed.
Right.
There's no landscaping to even speak of. It's just ugly. I mean, it's just like, who wants to buy that? And I understand that homeowners a lot of times don't want to spend any. They're selling their house, right? So they don't want to spend. And there are those situations, and I get it. I totally get it. I'm just saying that for maybe not as much investment as you think, you can get somebody like Landscape King out there, and at least he can make recommendations of, hey, what's their budget? And once you tell him the budget, he can tell you what's possible.
Yeah. And that's
true.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the, so we've kind of created a list and we're going to have some videos out about it, but just like 10 questions to ask yourself before you install a landscape. And one of them is, what is your budget?
Yeah.
You got to know, and sometimes people don't know how much it costs, but it's good to kind of have an idea of what you
absolutely. And
yeah.
Look, don't get all weird. And when he says, what's your budget, be like, what? If I tell you 3,000, you're going to tell me it's $29.95. Look, people get like that. These guys in any service industry, landscape included, it's hard for them to advise you if they don't know what you're wanting to spend. Look, we can build you the Taj Mahal. We can have landscape until the cows come home.
That's right.
If you just have an unlimited budget. But if you want to stay within a certain price point, you need to tell me so that I can tell you what is possible.
And in doing this for as long as I've been doing it, I can walk up to a property and pretty accurately say, hey, to do what you're thinking you want to do, maybe $5,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
And I'll try to give people a range pretty quick. And that way I can read and see, ooh, we really wanted to spend like 4,000. We didn't want to spend that much. But we can work with that, and I can tell you, hey, you're out of your mind. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or, hey, well, you could do this, or we could phase it out and do this, and we try to just work with people on that. But definitely for realtors, sometimes if you've got a big fancy house and it's all nice and new on the inside, then maybe you do need to spend more money to make the landscape really, especially if it's in a neighborhood where everybody has a nice landscape.
Yeah.
There's things you could do, maybe even just landscape lighting. Maybe you just need maintenance while it's on the market too.
That's right.
Just keep those weeds out. There's simple things you can do too.
Simple things you can do.
That's right.
And look, he'll come out there and look at it, and he just consult with you.
Yeah.
Not charge you a dime.
Yeah.
Just check it out and let you know what, quote your price maybe, or let you know what you're looking at on costs.
And man, we tried to. There was a time where we did charge for consultations, but what I found is that if we could go out there and not charge you anything, even if you don't go with us, we're still. Your neighbors might see my truck.
Yeah.
But sometimes people later on in life they can spend more money, and they'll either tell somebody about us, or it comes back. It comes back to you.
Yeah, it really does. And look, I want to mention this. So Joseph, don't let Joseph fool you. He is pretty sharp behind the social media realm as well. And actually, this dude got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. And look, a nice website as well. So I checked out his website at the very beginning, which is how I discovered your YouTube channel. And he's got a lot of interesting how-to videos on there. And so exactly what you were just talking about, you're going to create a flyer that's basically like 10 things that you can do
10 questions.
10 questions
to ask yourself.
Yeah, you could do that on a YouTube video as well. And so this he's branching out into all facets of business, and especially as it relates to landscaping. How important a role would you say social media has played on your business?
Man, it's starting to be huge. Now YouTube, we're not as consistent, but
it's hard. That's when you hire Jim Chapman.
That's right. Consistent. Come on and make it happen for us, the podcaster.
That's it.
But Instagram and what it does, it's kind of like BNI. It's a way to build trust with people before they meet you.
Yeah.
That's that way they can know, like, and trust you before you even knock on the door.
Absolutely.
And we've had some clients find us on Instagram and they're not getting any other quotes. They just want to go with us because they already trust us.
Sure.
They already like us.
That's right. They feel like they know you. And look, this video right here that we're going to put out, folks, share it. Share it on Facebook. The vast majority, 80% of our viewers and listeners are Baton Rouge area and 30 miles out in all directions. So that's kind of his area of service. Yeah. And let's talk about, so make sure you share it, but let's talk about this for a second. Your area of service, Gonzales, Baton Rouge, Central, Live Oak area, pretty much kind of like where you want to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Gonzales, Prairieville, we do work in Prairieville, and we even go to
West Zachary.
Yeah, we do stuff in Zachary as well. The farthest we probably go out is St. Francisville.
Gotcha.
But if we're going out there, we're gonna have a conversation with you about what you want to do, and we kind of give you some price ranges before we go out there.
Yeah,
just in case. But with West Baton Rouge, we like going out there too.
Yeah, Port Allen area.
Yeah, we'll go to Port Allen, Addis, Plaquemine. Now we don't offer for some folks. If you're looking for maintenance, we might not be a good fit if you're in St. Francisville or Zachary.
Yeah, you're gonna eat up. I mean, look, y'all, it's a business, and you use $50 of gas to go maintain something. You're gonna have to consider that.
Yeah. But as far as installations, we'll go to all those areas for installations.
Yeah, very good.
And we've got partners that we refer people to, like especially for lawn care. A few companies, Billy Sims, of course.
Yeah.
And then
Servicare.
Yeah, and Augusta Lawn Care too.
Yeah.
That both of those guys, their lanes are primarily just lawn care.
Yeah, that's right. They do, and Billy don't want to do nothing but lawn care. He cares, so you don't have to.
If you know BNI, you know Billy Sims. So.
He's a force of nature. That's what I call Billy. Let me ask you. let me ask you this before we get out of here. Believe it or not,
we're running out of time, man.
5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Let me ask you a couple things though. Number one, if people want to get in touch, how can they do so? What's the best way?
Yeah, they can call us. The number that's on our trucks, 225-304-2499. They can also go to the website. It's probably easier for a lot of people just to go to the website and click the book online button.
Yeah.
And just fill out the request form and we'll get back to you quickly.
Yeah. Very good. And the website is
landscapeKingLA.com. Go to our Instagram, Facebook too. Instagram, we're landscapeking_Louisiana.
Yeah,
And
give them a like.
check it out.
And let them know we sent you. Makes us look good.
Yeah,
right.
And sometimes on Instagram, we're obviously posting before and afters and stuff, and we'll talk kind of salesy stuff sometimes. But a lot of times, I'm trying to add more value for people and just give tips.
Yeah, there you go.
So
added value. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's right.
Very good. Now I asked you some fun facts. People love our fun facts.
Do they?
I get comments all the time, and they'll even private message me on Facebook and say, "Man, we love when you do the fun facts." Because I quit doing them for a little while, and they got mad at me. So I said, "Well, I'm gonna keep it back up." So we did some with you, and I asked you if you purchased a yacht, what would you name it? And the whole time in my mind, I was thinking exactly what he said. The King.
The King.
Imagine that. Joseph King, Landscape King, and The King. That's what you'd name a yacht. If you had a dream job, or what was your dream job when you were 12? Tell them what it is.
Crazy enough, hockey player.
Yes, exactly what my last guest said. And it blew my mind when he said it, y'all. We are in South Louisiana. Hockey. But he mentioned the Baton Rouge Kingfish, and I went to Kingfish games. I used to love them, man. Really fast game, and I learned a lot about hockey I didn't know. But you would never think people want to be hockey players in South Louisiana. But guess what? We had 2 of them back to back.
And I didn't even play hockey. I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And I was a 12-year-old thinking, hey, I want to be a hockey player.
Yeah,
That's
nothing
right.
wrong with that. Superpower. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? You said read minds.
Yep.
I picked that one too.
Then I know your budget,
That's right. You would right off the bat.
Watch out. Yeah. We know about this.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Earlier I told you Turkey, just because I had been there. It's a cool place, but I don't know. My wife and I have been talking like going to New Zealand or like Australia or something.
New Zealand.
New Zealand would be incredible.
Yeah, it's a good one. They filmed Jurassic Park in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other movie did they film in New Zealand? Wasn't it Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that.
Yeah.
Yep. And Jurassic Park was filmed there.
Magical place.
What a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine. I went to Alaska. You ever been to Alaska?
No.
Ooh.
You saw the Northern Lights?
It's like I did. I saw a little bit of the North. I was there at the very early stages of the Northern Lights, so it wasn't that big yet. Believe it or not, as the season for the Northern Lights goes on, they get better and better. I was at the very beginning of that. I went on a cruise, but I'm gonna tell you, it's like being in a painting.
Yeah.
Oh, eagles
Just
fly
gorgeous.
around like blackbirds around here. I mean, they're everywhere. They're sitting on light pole. Eagles. Oh yeah, man. And it was just absolutely beautiful. Even the little towns are what you would think in Alaska. Just unbelievable. So go check that out too. But definitely those are good places.
So what's your place? Where would you go?
New Zealand would be hard to beat.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Rome. I think I'd like to go to Rome. I'd like to see the Colosseum at some point before, I kick the bucket.
There's something nostalgic about that too.
Yeah.
Like, just the ancient.
And I'm a nostalgia guy. I mean, you can look around this studio and everything I have is antiques and older stuff. And there's a reason for that. That's my personality. I like that. I like that antique look, and the Coliseum to me is just so historical, and I'd love to see that. But so many places, New Zealand, definitely.
Yeah,
I mean that's hard to beat. So, all right, folks. Well, check out Joseph King. Look, we're going to link Landscape Kinks. Well, I definitely had to move that.
Yeah,
I'm not cutting that out, y'all. That was so funny. I'm leaving that. I almost went to write the cut, but I'm not cutting that out. That was a good one. Landscape King, not Kinks. That's a whole different company.
That's right.
Landscape King. We're going to link their media on the description of this video and audio. So you can just go down, you can click on it, and it'll bring you to their Facebook and their Instagram and their website. We'll put all three on there.
Yeah.
And so check those things out. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman, reminding you, love your community, support local business just like Landscape King, and keep leading. Thank you very much. Thanks, Joseph.
Happy.